All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we are going deep, deep, deep on a topic that impacts just about every single one of us at some point.
That's right, buying a home. And no matter where you are in that journey, whether you're a first-time buyer or you've been through it a couple times,
Yeah,
there's always something new to learn about this crazy process.
absolutely. We're going to call this our home buying and mortgage options crash course. You know it's a jungle out there,
It
so
is a jungle.
we're going to give you the machete to hack your way to home ownership.
Love it. I like that analogy. And you know one of the first things you're going to need in that jungle is a solid financial foundation.
Oh, absolutely.
That's right. Even before you start, drooling over those online listings.
Yes.
We got to talk about getting your finances in order.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What's the first step?
Well, first things first, check your credit score.
Okay,
That little number can make or break your mortgage dreams.
so true. And I think, a lot of folks don't realize how much power that credit score actually has.
It really does. Lenders basically use it to size you up as a borrower. They want to see how responsible you've been with money in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And that score is going to determine what kind of interest rates they're willing to offer you.
Which translates to huge savings over the life of the loan.
Absolutely thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow. Okay, so credit scores are important, but what happens if mine isn't exactly stellar? Any advice on how to give it a quick boost before I start house hunting?
Definitely. Start by checking your credit report for any errors. You can actually do this for free once a year.
Twice.
And then really focus on paying down those credit card balances. Even a small bump in your score can make a big difference.
So every little bit counts.
Absolutely. And don't forget about free credit monitoring services like Credit Karma. Those are awesome for tracking your progress and catching any potential issues early on.
Super helpful. All right, so let's say we've done our homework. Credit score's looking good. Are we ready to start browsing those listings?
Almost. There's one more crucial step in this financial boot camp. Okay.
We need to talk about getting pre-approved for a mortgage.
Ah, yes. Pre-approval. I've heard it's kind of a game changer in the home buying process.
Huge game changer. Think of it like this. When you're pre-approved, it shows sellers that you're serious. You're not just window shopping.
Oh, I see. It's like you're pre-qualified to play in the big leagues.
Exactly. And not only that, it gives you a really clear picture of what you can actually afford, so you're not wasting time looking at houses outside of your budget.
Right. No more falling in love with a place you can't actually afford.
Heartbreak averted.
Okay, so pre-approval is essential. Got it. Now can we finally talk about the fun stuff? Like envisioning our dream home.
Of course. But before you start pinning those gourmet kitchens and spa-like bathrooms,
Oh, I already am.
I know we all do, but let's take a moment to separate those wants from the actual needs.
Okay.
So location, super important. Think about your commute times, schools, and the area amenities you want nearby.
And then size. A sprawling mansion might sound amazing, but can you actually handle the upkeep and the costs that come with it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Property taxes, HOA fees, potential repairs, those things can add up really quickly.
Right, reality check.
Right.
Okay, so speaking of different types of homes, how do we even choose between a single-family house, a condo, a townhouse? What are the key things to consider there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really boils down to your lifestyle and what your priorities are. Single-family homes give you more privacy and space, but they also come with a lot more responsibility for maintenance.
Right.
You're on your own for all of that. Condos, on the other hand, are often more affordable, and they're low maintenance because you have that HOA taking care of a lot of the exterior stuff.
Oh.
But you do have those HOA fees, and you might have some restrictions on what you can do with your property.
Gotcha.
And then townhouses kind of fall somewhere in between. You get a bit more space than a condo, but you also share some walls, and they're often community amenities.
Okay, so it's really about finding that sweet spot that fits, your individual needs and lifestyle.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So we've got our finances in check. We've kind of narrowed down our wish list. We know what type of home we're looking for. Now, how do we actually find this perfect property?
Okay, so now it's time to dive into the world of real estate. You can browse listings online, attend open houses, and of course, there's always the option of working with a real estate agent.
Yeah, and I've heard mixed things about real estate agents. Some people say they're essential. Others say they're kind of outdated in the age of Zillow and Redfin. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Technology has really changed. The game buyers have a lot more power to do their own research. But a good agent they bring so much to the table. They understand the market, they can negotiate on your behalf.
Yeah.
And they often have access to listings that you might not find online.
So they're kind of like our secret weapon in this whole process.
I like to think of them as our trusted advisors.
Okay, I like that. All right, so let's say we've found a place that checks all the boxes. We're ready to make an offer.
Yes.
Now, this is where things get real.
Right. Things get real. Be prepared for potential bidding wars, especially if you're in a hot market.
Oh, boy.
You might not be the only one who has fallen in love with that dream home.
So what's the strategy here? How do we craft a winning offer without totally breaking the bank?
All right, so first things first, work closely with your agent. They can help you understand the fair market value.
Mm-hmm.
What other homes in the area have recently sold for?
Okay.
A strong offer. It's not just about the price.
Okay.
You might want to consider offering a flexible closing date or maybe waiving certain contingencies if you're comfortable with that.
All right. Contingencies, those are important.
Very important. They're there to protect you as the buyer.
Okay.
So things like the home inspection, for example.
Yeah, speaking of inspections, why are those so crucial?
Okay, a home inspection is like giving that house a full medical checkup. It can uncover all sorts of hidden problems that you don't want to be surprised with later on.
Yeah, like what kind of problems are we talking about?
We could be talking about electrical issues, plumbing, nightmares, structural damage, you name it.
So it's really about protecting ourselves and making sure we know what we're getting into.
Exactly. It's better to know about those leaky pipes or faulty wiring before you sign on the dotted line.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, let's assume the inspection goes smoothly. Our offer is accepted. We're almost at the finish line.
Yes.
What happens during this mysterious closing process?
All right. So closing is when all those legal and financial details come together.
Okay.
So you'll be signing a ton of paperwork, probably feel like you're signing your life away,
I bet.
transferring funds, officially taking ownership of the property.
Okay, and what about escrow and title insurance?
Ah, yes, those terms. They can definitely sound intimidating.
They do. What do they actually mean?
Okay, so escrow, think of it like a neutral third party. They hold all the money and the documents until all the conditions of the sale are met. Oh, okay.
So it's like a safety net for both the buyer and the seller.
Gotcha.
And then title insurance that protects you from any unexpected claims or disputes about the ownership of the property?
So kind of like a peace of mind policy.
Exact.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so we've tackled the home buying process now. Let's dive into those mortgage options. I feel like this is where people get really overwhelmed.
Yeah, there are a lot of options out there. But don't worry, we'll break it down.
Awesome.
So first up, we have the fixed rate mortgage. This is your predictable friend.
Okay.
The interest rate stays the same for the entire loan term, so you know exactly what your payments are going to be every month.
So it's great for budgeting and just kind of having that stability and predictability.
Exactly. Now, if you're looking for something that might start with a lower interest rate but could fluctuate over time,
Okay.
there's the adjustable rate mortgage, or AR.
Oh, yes, that ARM.
With an ARM, your payments could go up or down depending on how interest rates change.
So it's a little bit riskier. It is riskier, but it can also be a good option if you plan to stay in the home for a shorter period of time.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, we also have some great options for eligible borrowers, like FHA loans and VA loans.
Yeah, tell us about those.
So FHA loans are backed by the Federal Housing Administration, and these are fantastic because they allow for lower down payments.
Okay.
And they have more flexible credit requirements. So if you don't have perfect credit, an FHA loan could be a good option.
Awesome. And then VA loans.
VA loans are specifically for veterans and active duty military personnel.
Okay.
And they offer some incredible benefits like no down payment options and lower interest rates.
Wow. So if you're eligible for a VA loan, definitely take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got fixed rate, adjustable rate, FHA, VA. How do we know which one is right for us?
That's a great question. And honestly, it really depends on your individual financial situation, your goals, your risk tolerance. If you're someone who really values stability and predictability, that fixed rate mortgage might be the way to go.
But if you're comfortable with a little bit of risk,
Yeah.
and you're planning to stay in the home for a shorter period of time, an ARM could potentially save you money in the long run.
Okay. So it's all about weighing those pros and cons and figuring out what aligns with our individual circumstances.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to talk to a financial advisor.
Mm.
You know they can help you crunch the numbers and figure out what makes the most sense for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am feeling so much more prepared to tackle this whole home buying thing. I really appreciate all of your insights.
Of course, my pleasure.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Buying a home, it's a big decision. It's a long-term commitment.
It is.
So my advice would be take your time, do your research, don't be afraid to ask questions. And remember, there are so many resources available to help guide you through every step of the way. That's great advice. And on that note, here's a final thought for everyone to chew on. Before you jump into the house hunt, take some time to really think about your broader life goals. How does buying a home fit into your vision for the future?
Yeah.
It's not just about finding a place to live, it's about creating a space that really reflects your aspirations and supports the life you want to build.
I love that.
So happy house hunting, everyone. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.